Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit more shorter-term technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets. And more specifically, guys, I want to continue discussing how I think Bitcoin is marching its way forward onwards and upwards towards $10,000. And I also want to bring up this consolidation pattern that Bitcoin finds itself in right now and how Bitcoin may, in fact, break out of that. From there, I also want to discuss a couple of altcoins, actually. We're going to be looking at Litecoin over US dollars, and we're going to be looking at EOS over BTC, because I think there's some very powerful signals on both of those charts that I believe you guys will get some value out of, and I'm going to be trading those personally. So I think you guys will enjoy what I have to say on those. But anyway, guys, not much of an introduction to today's video. One thing I do want to mention is that this is the last day that I will ever be recording a YouTube video in my current home. I'm moving tomorrow, and where I'm moving, the upload speed is literally 30 times faster than where I live currently, which does mean regular live streams. Guys, look forward to that. We're going to be doing that in a little while. For anyone watching during the premiere, this is not a live stream. This is pre-recorded. It is a premiere of a YouTube video. But nevertheless, guys, without much further ado, let's go ahead and get right on into it. Actually, I lied. There is a tiny bit more further ado. I do want to announce that the cryptocurrency technical analysis sale will be running for 2 more days. It's going to be wrapping up on Wednesday. So if you guys want to join the course, links in the description. Use that $40 off coupon code June2019 to go ahead and dive on in. Now, without much further ado, let's actually go ahead and get right on into it, guys. Bitcoin, as we know, has been remarkably bullish here over the last couple of days. Bitcoin entered this consolidation pattern right here, broke bullish out of it, and we've been moving to the upside ever since. And Bitcoin's kind of formed this little U shape right here. This could, in fact, form into some kind of cup and handle pattern where we might see Bitcoin continue to rally. But for right now, Bitcoin is setting resistance around $9,300 to $9,400 in a nice zone right here. So let's go ahead and update our zone of resistance. Our zone of resistance currently looks something like this. And this one down here has been completely and utterly lambasted. We've gotten straight through it. So Bitcoin is up here testing this as resistance. And if Bitcoin can get through that, like I said about the previous resistance, there's not a whole lot of resistance in between us and $10,000. This little stop right here, I don't expect to last very long. If Bitcoin does actually break bullish out of a pattern, I'm going to show you guys here in just a second. We might be looking at $10,000 in the before Friday. Guys, today's Monday. We might be looking at before Friday. That is a very big possibility. At the same time, I want you guys to remember, don't FOMO in. Don't go buying a crap ton of Bitcoin. Don't go investing your life savings, Arrow Assassin 09, into Bitcoin on the hope and the dream and the prayer of a 7% gain. Because Bitcoin going to $10,000 from here, that's actually not that far away. Bitcoin is only about 6 to 7% away from 10K. So be careful, because you can lose a lot of money in this market as well as make a lot of money in this market. The time to be buying Bitcoin was down here at these levels. The time to be selling Bitcoin is coming up. Not necessarily the time to be buying. So keep that in mind. Always stay safe. But nevertheless, we are going to continue discussing the actual bullish case for Bitcoin here, because I think there's a very strong one to be made right now. Of course I do. It'd be kind of hard to make a case against Bitcoin at the moment. But the thing I want to point out is this consolidation pattern that Bitcoin finds itself in here. This is not going to last very much longer. In fact, unfortunately, because my internet is not 30 times faster yet, there's a pretty good chance that Bitcoin is actually going to be broken out of this by the time you see this video. But Bitcoin is more than likely going to break out of this pattern relatively soon. We can see that there's only a couple of hourly candlesticks left inside this pattern, something like 3 to 4. This video will take about 2 hours to go live from the time we're recording it. It's 8:48 a.m. Eastern time right now. Bitcoin is probably going to break out of this today. Now, one thing that we're going to see on the Litecoin chart relatively soon is that sometimes Bitcoin will redefine the uptrend or the downtrend and not actually break out of it. So maybe the trend could be redefined something like this by Bitcoin having a tiny little bearish breakout and then coming up and then breaking bullish again. And that can extend the lifespan and the duration of consolidation patterns. Like I said, I'll show you what happened with Litecoin last night in a manner similar to that. I've been trading that. But I think in eventuality, even if Bitcoin breaks bearish here or Bitcoin breaks bullish here, I'm not really going to call this right now because Bitcoin is so far into this pattern. It can honestly break bullish or bearish, and it's not going to mean a whole lot, and there's not a lot of great technical analysis to point to which direction it's going to break. But either way, no matter which direction Bitcoin breaks here, I think Bitcoin is still bullish overall. If it breaks bearish, we're going to come up here and we're going to bounce at the higher low than what we had down here, most likely, and we're going to continue moving to the upside. That's what I think anyway. I'd be surprised if this bullish train would end so close to $10,000, but not actually go to $10,000. If you guys want to have my opinion on what I think is going to happen when we do hit $10,000, watch yesterday's video. I discussed the potential outcome of Bitcoin hitting $10,000 versus it breaking 10K and versus it rejecting off of 10K. Guys, there are some technical indicators I want to show you on the Bitcoin over US dollars chart before we actually get onto our couple of altcoin picks for the week. But the first of the technical indicators I want to point out would be the MACD and the stochastic RSI. MACD on Bitcoin is looking quite bullish on the daily chart right now. As you guys know, No, MACD is not meant to be read by the crosses. I've talked about this a lot. I talk about this in the MACD video here in the CT2A. MACD is not to be read by the crosses. Let me say that again. MACD is not to be read by the crosses. That is one of the biggest misconceptions in Bitcoin technical analysis, and it makes me so heated. I'm just kidding. I don't care all that much, but it is a very important concept that you understand. It's not the crosses that call Bitcoin MACD reversal change. That's not how you want to read MACD. Read the change in the direction on the histogram. Check this out. We have our arrow up here. If you were to use the cross to buy Bitcoin, you would have been buying Bitcoin up here around $8,600, $8,700, $8,800. But if you had actually used the MACD histogram reversal right down here on the 6th of June, then you would have been buying Bitcoin at $7,400, $7,500, $7,600. That's about $1,000 cheaper, guys. That's a big difference. If we were to take the average of these two, that's 10% gain that you could make just from buying right here and then selling at the bullish cross rather than the bearish one. Don't use the bullish cross to actually be your indicator. It's a very lagging indicator. Oftentimes it'll lag between 5 and 10 candlesticks from where the actual reversal happened because of the way MACD is set up. If you're using a different time frame, then it can help, but at that point, a lot of people aren't paying attention to that time frame, so it's not that important. What I'm talking about is maybe something like the 8-hour or the 3-day on Bitcoin, depending on where you're going, would be a better place to use for daily signals, which is counterintuitive, but that is how that works. But nevertheless, the way that I like to look at MACD is that you get your first signal from the reversal in the histogram, and then you get confirmation of bullish or bearish strength from the cross itself. Because as you can see, sometimes over here, you'll see that there's a cross, but you don't see confirmation for a while, and Bitcoin kind of just trades to the upside, even though the MACD is bearish. So you want to wait for the first signal, then the confirmation, and from there, it's showing a lot of bullishness on Bitcoin right now, guys. Bitcoin's looking very healthy on the MACD. Nothing really to be worried about. Everything is looking good, especially up to $10,000. From there, also stochastic RSI and RSI, they're moving to the upside. That's not really a good or a bad thing, but it is something I want to point out. If we look at the 4-hourly chart also, I want to point out the stochastic RSI down here. Excuse me, I want to point out the MACD on the hourly chart, not on the 4-hourly chart. If we look at the hourly chart here on Bitcoin, we can also see that the MACD is relatively bullish in a very similar manner to how it was back during the back on the daily chart. If we look here, in fact, you'll see what I'm talking about the reversal in the histogram right down here being the bottom of this market. Right here, it's on the exact same candlestick when Bitcoin came down to $8,800 and started moving to the upside. But if you waited for the cross a couple of hours ago, then you would have missed $400 worth of gains, guys. That's a big deal. That's not small. That's a 3 or 4% rally. That's nothing to really write. That's nothing to really write home about. I mean, it's not, but it's nothing to scoff at the same time. That's where your gains are going to be made. Unless you're doing long-term investing or swing trading, 4 and 5% gains. That's where you're making your money. So you're really missing out on a big part of your profit margins if you're not taking advantage of that change in the MACD. Read the MACD correctly. So many people don't realize that, and it really annoys me. Either way, guys, you really don't want to be trading this signal, this pattern anyway. You want to be waiting for a breakout. That's what I'm doing currently in my Litecoin position. I'll show you that in a second. I normally don't talk about my trades. I'm going to do on this one because it's a very good example of what's going on here on Bitcoin. And you can do a very similar thing on the Bitcoin chart. I'm not going to because I have some trades in other places with Bitcoin right now. But nevertheless, what you want to do when you have a consolidation pattern like this, put a buy order above the resistance, put a sell order or a short order below the level of support, and wait for the breakout. Don't trade a breakout before the breakout happens. Wait for the breakout, especially if we're already this far into a consolidation pattern. Guys, normally a consolidation pattern will go about 70% of the way through, and then it will have its breakout. This has gone much further than that, which means we're at the kind of climax and the apex of this consolidation pattern, and when you get into this zone, it's much easier for the whales to come in and manipulate the market, whether intentionally or not, and move the market around, and they can just buy some Bitcoin and moon Bitcoin and force a breakout, or they can sell some Bitcoin, short some Bitcoin, and force a sell-off. So there's a lot of randomness that comes in when you get this tight into a consolidation pattern. Be careful trading them. Always trade a consolidation pattern after the breakout. Anyway, guys, that's mainly what we wanted to discuss on Bitcoin, but like I said, we do have some things that we want to dive into on EOS and Litecoin, so let's go ahead and get on in with that. I have a little bit more that I want to show you on the Litecoin chart, but as for EOS, one thing that I've been wanting to show you guys ever since I saw it was this pattern that EOS is entering. It's entering a very, very long-term symmetrical triangle pattern. We're on the EOS over Bitcoin, not the EOS over US dollar chart. EOS is entering this long-term consolidation pattern with a very, very well-defined uptrend of support right here. Very, very well-defined, guys. I can't stress that enough. This is looking very great. We do have a very large, we do have a very large zone right here. That's not the end of the world. It's still well defined. Everything's looking okay on EOS, especially if we reconfirm this uptrend right here. The point I want to make here is that EOS is starting to bounce around in between these levels right here. And as you guys can see, if EOS continues the pattern that's been doing of bouncing off of this uptrend, then what do we expect to happen from here? Well, we expect EOS to bounce off of this level of support. Do the technical indicators back that up? I'd say they do. If we look at the daily chart right here, we can see a reversal on the daily MACD. Let's go ahead and zoom in so you can see this. A reversal on the daily MACD right here, guys. Check this out. Reversal on the daily MACD right when we hit the bottom right down here. That would be indicative that we're probably going to see some more bullish strength come into EOS over the next 2 weeks or so, and that we'll probably see a small rally in it. There's a lot of money to be made there, especially if EOS does go ahead and fill out with where it needs to go. If EOS does go to that downtrend of resistance, that's nearly a 30% rally. You can make a good amount of money doing that trade. I want to point that out. By the way, I'm not telling you to make that trade. I'm simply pointing out that it is something that you might find interesting. I figured you guys would like to hear the things that I'm looking at, and that's definitely a trade I'm looking at making here over the next couple of days. I'm looking for the exact time that I want to buy into this for a swing trade, and I think I'm going to be buying some EOS for the next couple of weeks on a swing trade. From there, guys, let's go ahead and look at the position that I'm currently trying to get into. I'm not into it yet because Litecoin hasn't actually broken out yet, but this is a prime example of what I was talking about with consolidation patterns. Litecoin is in a very obvious consolidation pattern right here. We have a very long-term uptrend of support, and we have a downtrend of resistance right here. And funnily enough, we can actually see that Litecoin is trading, most of its trading is going on the resistance side of this consolidation pattern. I'm very happy about that. That is indicative of a bullish breakout. You see that happen a lot where the market will trade on the side of the consolidation pattern that it's going to eventually break out of. But I want to show you something that happens sometimes with consolidation patterns here. If we get rid of that uptrend of support, I'll show you what the uptrend of support looked like yesterday. It looked like this. And I went to sleep having a buy order, and that buy order is still on the exchange actually at 139. I was going to buy, it was a limit order, excuse me, a stop limit order at 139 on Binance to buy Bitcoin right up here, and as soon as Bitcoin would break out, I'd catch it, and then I'd ride the profits as far as they go, and I have some price targets up there. But Litecoin, in fact, broke bearish out of this, and this is a prime example of what I'm talking about. I expected Litecoin to break bullish here based on a lot of technical indicators that I'll get to in a second, but I didn't place the trade yet because Litecoin, because it was so far into this consolidation pattern, I was making this trade like right here, because it was so far into this consolidation pattern, Litecoin can very easily break bearish here. It would have been silly for me to buy Litecoin then. So what I did instead was I put a stop limit order up here at 139 so that if Litecoin did actually break bullish and it wasn't just having one of these little fake outs right here, I would catch it, and when Litecoin started to rally, I would have my position and I'd be safe. And then I could put a sell order right below 139, protect myself, and the only thing I'm risking is market fees, which is really low on Binance. So that's a good example of an almost risk-free trade that you can make. It's basically just free money when you see markets move into these consolidation patterns. Guys, it is free real estate. Not really. You do have to be a little careful. But I do want to point out that Litecoin did break bearish here in a way that Bitcoin might as well. And instead of that causing a breakout, all we really have to do is redefine the uptrend of support. We can redefine it like that, and in fact, if we drag it back, then we can see that it's actually a very long-term uptrend of support that Litecoin is respecting. So now I would expect that over the next 3 to 4 hours, again, we're going to see a breakout on Litecoin, and I might go ahead and move that buy-in position to a bit lower, maybe 138. I just don't want to catch any of these wicks, but I also do want to get the lowest possible entry that I can. This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about on trading, guys. You have to be careful with your trades. You want to make sure that you always have a plan to protect yourself in your trades. It's important that you have a plan to decide where you're going to sell, but it's also equally, if not more important, that you have a plan to protect the money that you do have. If you're going out and making new money, but you're also losing money, it's not really doing you any good. If you're making $1 million at the casino, but you lost 1.5 at the slot machines, did you make any money? I mean, you did, but you also didn't because you're missing 500 grand. It's a similar thing in trading. You want to make sure that you're protecting yourself, minimizing your loss, and maximizing your rewards. It's a very, very important thing that a lot of people overlook. It's one of those basics, but it's one of those fundamentals that everybody needs to make sure that they have a good grasp of. Anyway, guys, a couple of the indicators I want to show you having to do with Litecoin would have to do with the the daily chart, the hourly chart MACD. As we can see here, Litecoin is looking rather bullish. We did have one of those little reversals I was talking about right down here when we hit the support. We saw this reversal on the histogram down here, and Litecoin is starting to look more bullish on the hourly chart. If we zoom out, then we're going to see a similar story on the 4-hourly. If I do remember correctly, the MACD, actually, it wasn't on the daily on the 4-hourly chart. It was on the daily chart that Litecoin's looking rather good. We see that it is still bullish on the MACD. We are losing some of that momentum, so perhaps we're going to see something fall over here. But I think for the short term anyway, there is a short-term gain to be made here. There's a lot of TA that I've done on Litecoin. I'm not going to get into all of it in today's video. Tell me in the comment section down below if you'd like to see a dedicated video on Litecoin TA, because there's a whole lot of stuff going on this chart right now. I simply don't have time to get to all of it. A lot of it's with Fibonacci levels and not so many moving averages because they're all below Litecoin. Some levels of support, some levels of resistance, a lot of stuff. I can do a full TA video on Litecoin if you'd like. Tell me in the comment section section down below about that. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much going to do it for today's video. I do want to ask you in the comment section down below, did you enjoy seeing some of the trades that I do? I don't normally talk about them, but I thought this was a great example of a very, very safe trade to make that also has a lot of profit margin. You wait for the breakout, you buy in, and then you can sell up at some undefined or normally better yet defined point later in the future. Tell me in the comment section down below if you like this kind of content, and also if you'd like to see more stuff on Litecoin, because in the vein of actually making money in these markets and showing you guys how to trade, that is why I made the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, guys. Back when I launched this on September 23rd, 2019, I started building it in August of that year. 2018 is what I meant to say. I knew that a Bitcoin bull market was coming, guys. I didn't know exactly when it was going to start. I figured it'd probably start in 2019, sometime maybe early 2020, but I knew one was coming, and I wanted to build a product for you guys so that you could learn how to do technical analysis before the bull market started, and at worst case scenario, after the bull market has started and we're in a bit of a rush. Guys, Bitcoin bull markets only last about 2 years at most. Sometimes they last 3. They're not very long. 2 or 3 years sounds like a long time until 2 or 3 years is gone. I remember when I was in high school, the first day, the guidance counselor said, you know, 4 years seems like a very long time, but I promise you it's going to be gone just like that. And years later, man, was he right. 3-4 years, they can go quick. And you got to be vigilant in these markets if you're going to make money in them and you're going to profit in them. And that's why education is so very important. It's very important that you guys understand the concepts that I do to actually make me a profitable trader. Because if you don't understand these concepts, you're not going to be able to trade these markets for a profit. If you don't know the things that are in this course, you can learn them somewhere else if you want. It's going to take you a lot longer. It's going to cost you a lot more money, but you can learn them somewhere else if you'd like. But if you don't know these concepts, you're not going to be successful in the market. You just most likely aren't. I'm sorry, but we cover so many of the basics that if you don't know this stuff, then you're probably not going to be successful in the market. And I don't want that to happen to you guys. I want the best for you guys. I want you to be successful. I want you to take what you learn in CT2A and from your own analysis and from your own research and from your own book reading and from your own YouTube video watching and your own learning, and implement that into a trader, that can make the most out of this market, because I want what's best for you guys. I do. I grew up very, very not well off. I grew up in a position where I always felt like I wanted someone who would be able to help me. And now that I've been able to actually go and make myself successful, I want to be able to help other people. And this is one of the ways I can do it, is I can help bestow upon you guys the knowledge to actually make money in these markets so that you can then use that money to better yourself, better your life, and better the lives of the people around you. Guys, every single concept that we've discussed in today's video, from moving averages to MACD to RSI, stochastic RSI videos coming out soon, to a game of statistics and probabilities. We were talking about probabilistic stuff. Risk and reward, how I was talking about how much you want to risk and how much you want to gain versus protecting yourself, that kind of stuff. How to plan and execute profitable trades, that's something we've been discussing here. Mass psychology, we've talked about that a little bit. All of these things are things I've discussed in this video, and all of them are things I go into extreme detail on with the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. Guys, the sale is going to be wrapping up on Wednesday, so if you want to join the course, I highly recommend you do so. Links in the description. Use the coupon code June2019 to get $40 off at checkout, and I look forward to seeing you guys over there. We've had I almost said dozens. We've had hundreds of people go through the course. Over 600 people have gone through the course now, and I've never had any of them complain about it. I've never had any one of them email me and say, Jeb, this course is crap. Jeb, this course is terrible. Jeb, I don't want anything to do with you. Jeb, this sucks, or Jeb, this is bad. I've never had that happen, partially because I have very, very good people in the course and they wouldn't say it that way. But even in a nice way, no one has ever told me, Jeb, this course is not good. This course is not what I wanted. I've never had anyone say that. I've never had anyone say that to me. We've had 600 people go through the course, and I am surprised by that, and I am shocked by that, and I am so incredibly humbled by that. So thank you if you're a member of CT2A. Always feel free to tell me if there's something you don't like. Sometimes people do give constructive criticism. Sometimes people do not constructive criticism. Sometimes people do say, hey, you should add this video, and how to plan and execute profitable trades is an example of that. That was a video requested by someone, and to date is one of the best videos in the course, I would say. So your feedback is very, very valuable. But guys, like I said in yesterday's video, if I wanted to, I could spend the next 2 hours in Premiere Pro throwing 100 different testimonials up on screen right now. When I get an editor, I will force them to do that. That is coming soon, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to tell you guys that people do greatly enjoy the course, and they are getting a lot of value out of it. I talk with them all the time, and they are telling me that they're able to actually profit in these markets now that they understand how they work. Anyway, guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. If you are interested in CT2A, the link is in the description. There's a $40 off coupon code June 2019 down there. Go ahead and join us. And if you're also interested in what's going to happen on Bitcoin, Litecoin, and or EOS, tell me in the comments section down below what you think is going to happen to those three markets. Do you think Bitcoin is on the fast track to 10K? Do you think EOS is actually going to bounce off of that support that I was showing you and start a new rally up to this downtrend? And also, what do you think is going to happen with Litecoin? I keep making that mistake in today's video for some reason. Do you think Litecoin is going to break bullish? And if so, are you in the same trade that I am? Tell me in the comment section down below if you enjoyed today's video. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. Actually, I forgot. I also have to remind you to smash the living daylights out of that like button, guys. Sometimes I forget, and the like button hasn't been getting the punishment that it deserves over these last couple of weeks because I keep forgetting. Make sure you destroy that like button. Anyway, guys, that is actually going to wrap it up for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.